What's going on, guys? Let's talk about Batman. We are doing a 50K subscriber giveaway for the Nano Iron Man Gauntlet, fully loaded with the Infinity Stones and LED lights. Simply hit the subscribe button, comment below, and like this video.
Fitner, don't you mean dun 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 dun?
Killer theme song.
I think that's what you meant. Yeah.
Killer theme song. I want that as my ringtone.
I want that to be my actual song every time I walk into a room. Any
do that.
room I ever walk into, I just want that to be in the background, and I just walk in just...
You can do that. Can't you do that with have Alexa do that?
Dun. Yeah, just literally just have like, okay, coming in for dinner. Honey's dinner's ready. Bum 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 bum. The score for this movie, honestly, I'm very picky with like soundtracks and scores of movies. And the ones that really appeal to me definitely are within like the realm of like what you see in Inception, what you've seen in like The Dark Knight. A lot of Hans Zimmer, a lot of Christopher Nolan uses a lot of Hans Zimmer in all his movies. Matt Reeves is the director for this one, so I'm glad that like they're kind of on the same wavelength about what kind of tone, because music really makes it. Like even like looking at Marvel and looking at Guardians of the Galaxy, James Gunn did his whole thing with making like a huge soundtrack. So just comparing really briefly with that, the score was really like just memorable. Like I just would be like watching and like you hear some some monologue or some narration, and then you have it like start to build up, bomb, and then like he's right there.
And to add on that, Flash Fanatic, about the soundtrack, yes, like I love the soundtrack of the other movie for the other studio that I will not say, that James Gunn produced for that other company. I'm not going to say that. Don't say that, the word.
He said the M word. He said the M word.
I have that soundtrack. I have both soundtracks for both movies, and I'll be just walking down the street or walking into a store and they play one of those songs, and automatically I flash back to that movie in particular scenes where that music was played, and that's one of the things with James Gunn. Like he picks great music to go with his movies. In the Suicide Squad, he has a phenomenal soundtrack as well. The music just fits the theme, the feeling of the movie, and they're all separate movies. They all have their separate vibe, and the soundtracks go perfect with all of them. Not just the visual, the storytelling, but the music. He appeals to all three senses instead of just one.
Perfect example is Peacemaker.
Yeah,
with that
Peacemaker
intro,
well.
with that really weird.
That's an original.
Intro.
That's an original. Yeah, that's an original.
That's not an 80s song. That's based on 80s music. But that's actually, I think it's a European band from Europe or something that he found a few years ago.
Can we all agree real quick, since we're on the topic of Peacemaker, can we all agree that Peacemaker was right about Batman?
Oh my God, no. We're not going to talk about that. We're not going to talk about that.
Oh, we're going to talk about it. This is unfiltered right now. We just took the cap off off. That's it. We took the cap off. We lit the flame.
To our studio audience.
Gasoline on it.
To our studio audience, this is our preview for our review of The Peacemaker Season 1. Please watch the next video when we shoot it. Eventually.
Eventually.
Yeah, but we're here to talk about Batman.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Batman. The Batman, to be honest.
The Batman. Nerd. So I know that one thing that you had mentioned before in private, that you were very impressed about the suit.
Yes, I really love the suit. I really love the feeling of the suit. It's like still like a prototype. Throughout the movie, they cover that he's in his second year as Batman. So this Batman is not, a refined Batman. He's still raw. He's still learning, and that's reflected in the suit. Particularly, you see it in the cape. I kept wondering, why is this cape got these ridges? Why isn't it like just one single sheet of fabric? Like, why? That's what sticked out to me, outside the collar and some other features, but that's like the main thing I saw. And we got to see it later on in that phenomenal scene in the police precinct where he, pulls the cord or presses the button, and next thing you know, it transformed to a hang time suit, a glider suit, and he just jumped off the roof and started gliding around. And I was like, okay, so there we go. He's a new Batman, and that's reflected in not just his suit, but it's in his car. You see him building the Batmobile, and then when he takes it for a drive, it's not like the Batmobile we grew up watching on any movie where it had guns and bombs and all this other stuff. Like it was just a regular car.
I don't know. I couldn't recognize the type of car. Like, I mean, obviously it's based on a model, but it looked to me like more like a Mustang kind of build, like a power car. Like he had trouble making those turns, which I know that's definitely something you see with like Mustangs and like cars like that, which are really kind of focused, very classic, and then you're just going straight. I mean, we saw it in the movie, but like a little bit of that ramming kind of speed. But for the suit, I was really impressed with that. And like you said, this is the second year. He's still trying to figure things out. There might be upgrades to the suit. I know that it was a few years. I think when the movie first like had a couple of pictures and like there were some leaks of the new design of the suit. One of the things I really liked about it was that the Batarang was actually part of the suit. So it was very convenient, and it almost was a new take. Like, guys, like I have something that can I just take it out and like use it as needed. It's very accessible. I'm sure he has other things there. One of the things I kind of got really hooked on was his gadgets. This definitely is a more modern type of story and modern type of Batman, in the sense that all these things are using technology that's used today, like a contact lens that can record, which was something I did not even see coming. No pun intended. But but that was so cool to see that, and to see like, oh, you know what? That like fits his persona so well. He's a detective. He needs to go back and look at things during the time he's at these police crime scenes. He's barely saying any words. He could be doing that and just knowing like, okay, I'm looking around. I'm stopping. I'm looking here. And the police might be like, oh, did Batman find a clue? And then like look at this and like, okay, let's take a little snapshot here and know what's happening here. And then like you look back and then it's like, oh, wait a minute, that was something I missed. So that was something that was really cool in terms of the earpiece, just his like new management system with that, his Gatling gun. Oh my god, that thing was so cool. I'm
you want one, don't you? You want the prop replica. I know you want the prop replica. I want the prop replica
so bad. Oh man, that and I'm not like, again, like grappling guns, that's a very big callback to the 90s cartoon. That I don't honestly, I might be wrong about this, but I don't even think I remember them really showing in The Dark Knight his Gatling gun. I think it was more like, you know, like a very quick like boom, and then he shot like a thing out of it, and then he'd hook it to something, and that was it. This one, they actually took the time, showed you it's an actual like kind of like a thick gun that he's shooting up and like, you know, hanging somewhere, and then it hooks around something and then comes back. So just he's
literally carrying it at all times too, which is like the most coolest part. It's in like his gauntlets, those big ass gauntlets that he's carrying. It's in there, and he actually like pops it out.
And one thing also, this is the last thing about the suit I'll say. I guess it was part of the trailer, but it was also when they're having the chase scene after the Penguin, and the Penguin's looking at him, and you hear the music start to creep up, and he's walking, and you hear I swear I thought I heard spurs. I don't know if it was just hitting his foot,
You were not the only one. It sounded like metal on his boots. Like
it had to be metal or something, because and I was like, is that hitting him like just like the sound effect of him hitting like water, splashing water, or is that actual like a clink in a little bit of different territory? But like Boba Fett, that was how you recognize it was Boba Fett, was that he had the spur clicks at the end of the Mandalorian show. Spur clicks, I remember that. That's Boba Fett. This is giving me kind of that same vibe of like, whoa, it feels like there's this bounty hunter just like getting ready to like capture his prey or his target. Well,
the thing is, a lot of time is a lot of these older directors are real big fans of these old cowboy movies. The sheriff, the cowboy, he always wore spurs, and anytime he walked, he make that sound. That's how you knew he was either the good guy or even the bad guy. What's the sound of those spurs? And so they like to incorporate that in their media. Remember, Batman's an outlaw. He's a vigilante, but he's doing the right thing. He's fighting crime.
He's the sheriff of Gotham
cleaning up
City.
the town. Yeah, he's the sheriff. I am here to clean up this town.
He's cool Batmobile. The Dark Knight. He's a Gotham Knight.
Hey, any more you gonna reference? You got to reference the Dark Knight? Now, world's greatest detective. He's a Cape Crusader. You know, he's
a
Batman.
very nice. He's a Gotham.
He's all the above in this film. He's all the above.
No,
I've stated it before. This is a mashup of literally like almost all of the greatest things throughout all different iterations of Batman into one.
Well, one of the things like I noticed about this movie is so at the very least there's 3 different, I guess, themes. I don't want to say like adaptations because I feel like it's just elements pulled, but it definitely feels like this is a combination of kind of like the Arkham Knights games, if you've ever played those, Hush,
Yes.
and The Long Halloween. Like those, I think that it's definitely been stated somewhere on like in interviews that like his inspiration, his pulls were strictly from like those like movies. Yeah. But basically,
this is
they
the special
just
edition comic from the movie.
Oh, that you get to go
And
if
it's
you went early.
and this is the Long Halloween issue number 1.
Yeah. And no, I mean that's what I'm saying though. Like essentially, like let's talk about the Riddler for a brief minute. I love how they created this character. This I feel, in a sense, even though I know everyone, it's based on the Riddler, and you know there is an established backstory for him. This feels very fresh. This feels like this is a new Riddler we've never seen before. This, I mean, I definitely know that people have said that this movie gives you the vibe of Seven, the Kevin Spacey film about the serial killer who kills. He leaves clues for the detectives, and they follow him. And
Never heard anyone say that.
With a little sprinkle of Saw.
I never
contraptions.
I never heard anyone call Seven the Kevin Spacey movie. It's always been the Brad Pitt movie. But go on, I hear you. You know, I understand what you're saying.
Well, we're talking about the villain. I'm talking about the villain.
But the villain.
Yeah, you know, his background, and I feel like there's a part of this that like speaks to the social commentary of today, and how like social media in a sense can be a bad thing or a negative. And yes, there is a lot of like the mix of the original character of the Joker and Riddler, and how he was brought up and how like he saw things growing up. But there's also this thing about how the community can be easily inspired. I mean, toward the end of the movie, he has all these. I call them Riddler thugs, like his, Riddler gang, where like kind of like the Joker, his henchmen. That is built up from this community. Like you see at the end, he's been making like his social media. His social media at one point, you saw like a video, and you just see the views, and they start at like 50, and they jump up to the thousands within seconds in the corner of the screen. And I'm like looking at that video, I'm like, wow, I wish I had views like that. Like I could just like, as soon as it like you go there, and it's like all the way up to the top. But you see, like,
thank you guys for donating to detonators. My Cash App is detonators.
Right. And the fact that like that was his way of like building up his army in a sense. He it wasn't like people who were almost my side. It was like he created this cult, the cult of the Riddlers, the cult of the Riddle, and people were like, "Hey, thank you, guys." I love how his voice was completely different in his like actual social media post. That like, "Thank you guys for the suggestion. I really appreciate the
like and subscribe.
You guys are the best." Like he's actually being like an influencer,
Yep.
legit. Like today, like that's the thing. And the what came to mind. This is from like a few years ago, but the Tide Pod challenge, when that was brought up, that was very similar in a sense where someone did this on online. It became a viral thing. People were following, doing the same thing, thinking it was like a challenge. People were encouraged not to bite into Tide Pods because they're dangerous and they potentially can cause a lot of bad side effects. And the fact it was bad, but this is the same thing. This is like, hey, thank you guys. Oh, by the way, we're all gonna get together at this point in time after my plan. Like, you won't see me there. I won't be there, but you guys do your thing and get there. Thank you guys so much. Like and subscribe. Like, it got such a tone from that part of the movie. And it just kind of like shows how, in a sense, like the social media can be used in a bad light, and how there is sometimes a really weird kind of society that like they'll watch something. Like there was another movie, I don't remember what it was, but I remember watching it. It was a horror movie, and it was like people who are watching this movie, like the more people who watch this movie or they watch this like live stream of like The Prisoner, that like is closer to like it accelerates the poison or something like that. Or it was some kind of movie like that in the past. I don't remember what. I'll have to look it up and send you guys a link later. But I remember it was like a movie where it was talking about that, and I just got like that vibe of like it could definitely go into the negative and create like someone and give someone power, like the Riddler, who had just he said himself, all his power is up here. There's nothing that was like, he doesn't have the physique, he doesn't have the muscle to actually pull these things off. So he gets this by like kind of influencing those other people to do his bidding for him. So I just wanted that was like
in his mind, in his delusional psychotic mind, he was partnered up with the Batman.
Oh yeah, that was. You know,
I love that. I love that entire twist.
I was trying to figure this out in my head.
You're my
I think the
best
Batman was
friend,
confused.
Batman. Like, I love you, Batman.
Yeah, he was like looking at him like, you're like, didn't you know you're part of this too? Like, this is your me. You're like this. We're best friends. And then he's like, no, we're not.
You're crazy, man.
We're not alike. That was such an excellent acting scene, by the way.
That was a terrifying, absolute. Like, that was terrifying to watch that scene in the greatest of ways, though. Like, the Riddler is a psychopath in here. Like, when he was in his chains, and just that performance, that was beautifully done. Beautifully done. Terrifying.
Yeah, the way he kind of worked around, you start and he's so collected. He thinks everything's going to go his way. And as soon as the first sign it's like, no, this is not the plan. We are not alike. All of a sudden, you see the psychopaths are part of him. No. And he's like, starts screaming and like becoming like the nutcase that he is. And I also found it very interesting, just in talking about that scene. Yeah, it was recorded during the time that he was in there, where he actually said Batman's identity while it was screened, and like he knew that. And I'm wondering if that's going to be a bit of a different take on this in this universe of the Batman. If they choose to go into sequels or any kind of follow-up. I know that we were talking about there are projects coming up that are associated with the Batman, but I'm wondering if that's going to play a part. Like did the Batman go back and get the tape? Does someone else have the tape that has the identity?
That is actually a really tricky way how they set that up, because he said the name and then he says that he's the only one that got away, which almost means he doesn't have a connection between Batman and Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
They insinuate it in a way that it's very confusing to the audience, and it's obviously confusing even to the Batman, because he's saying Bruce Wayne, and Batman's just looking at him like, oh crap, does he know who I am? Does he know that I am Bruce Wayne? Or is he just saying Bruce Wayne because he's the one that got away, because he sent a bomb to go kill his ass, and he didn't succeed. He hit Alfred. So they insinuated it, but I don't think he actually knows that he is Bruce Wayne.
No, I think he knows. There was a specific thing he said when he came up close to him, and he said, "This is the mask you wear." I think he was talking to that, like, we were both orphans. We both grew up without parents. We both had messed up lives, and this is who we really are. You as the Batman, and me as like the Riddler. So I don't know. I mean, that's a good point, and we'll definitely have to see. And I might have to go back and watch it again. I'm planning on seeing it in IMAX. I saw it in RPX on Regal, but I might be going back to see it again if I could hold it in for another 3 hours. But
oh yeah, give me less timing of watching Batman whoop ass. Yeah, just give me less timing. Wait, so you want to see less of Batman? So you want to see a DC short? So go watch a DC short. This is a movie. filled with Batman. 90% of the time, he is in the Batman outfit. You see him like 2% as Bruce Wayne when he's broken and plotting and stuff and prepping.
Well, I'll say like with oh, sorry, go ahead, Ocean.
So a movie in with the title The Batman has too much Batman in it. Seems kind of odd.
I'm like,
it's in the
they
title.
Gave us
Spoiler
Batman.
Spoiler.
They gave us plenty of Batman, and I'm totally fine with it. I would have sat for 4 hours, to be honest with you, with what we saw, with amazing writing, amazing cast.
Yep.
Speaking about cast, what do you guys think about the Penguin?
Oh, Colin Farrell? Yeah, he was real good. I liked it. He does a very good portrayal. You know, I really enjoyed it. I didn't like the fact he was so tall. I would like it if the Penguin was a little shorter. But Colin Farrell did his thing. You know, you can't. At times, you really can't tell who's under the prosthetics. You know, like we all know it's Colin Farrell, but if you are not a fan of him or seen a lot of his movies, you wouldn't be able to tell. Like, who is that? Like, what actor is that?
Yeah, I actually agree with you on that. The length, I had no problem with. I actually felt entertained the entire way. There was not a point where I was like, oh, yeah. But there was one scene, I think, that went, like, sometimes, like, a little too long. Like, you didn't need...
Hold on. Let's cover that on our things that we did not like or things that we can improve. And so, let's continue talking about stuff we did like.
We are gonna talk about our dislikes.
I was just talking about the length of the movie, but with one thing that there was.
We get it. You dislike the length of the movie, even though you're a Lord of the Rings fan. You are a Lord of the Rings fan. How long are those movies? How long are those movies? Tell me.
But with the Penguin, with Colin Farrell, I don't remember the actor. There was an actor they were saying looked very much like what Colin Farrell's the Penguin looked like, and they were like, they should have gotten him as the actor, and I can't remember who it was. He used to be on the Spin City. I don't remember his name, but
you talking about Martin Short? Not Martin Short. Listen to me. No. Michael J. Fox.
No, but the guy who was
Back to the Future?
he was a big guy. He had like a voice like this. He would talk like with.
Oh, you're talking about from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. He played his best friend Hyde. Then I got nothing.
Okay, but anyway, I'm gonna get out of the way. But in terms of the actual,
I don't even know what Spin City is.
It's a comedy from the '90s. We'll talk about it later.
Yeah, but yeah,
I didn't watch those things in the '90s because I'm too young, I guess.
So I was expecting. So the fact that he had so much prosthetic on him, I thought there was going to be something going on where he gets like his nose ripped off or something, and like that's the reason why they gave him so much prosthetic, was not just for the effect, but maybe that there was going to be something that, like, you know, he gets his face like broken or his nose broken or something like that, and you see like it droop down more like a penguin, and that was how like he becomes more like a penguin. So I was upset not to see that, but
that's why we're gonna get a whole series about the Penguin on HBO Max.
But I did enjoy his character. Okay. I don't think he was a huge. I don't think he was a huge part, honestly, like of the movie, like in terms of, you know, plot development or you know, kind of forwarding the plot of the movie, other than maybe just like, oh, by the way, you're an idiot. This is not your. Do you guys not know Spanish? That scene was for me kind of like just like hilarious, like break from the dark grittiness and just like kind of, okay, the Penguin is like this sinister kind of character, but oh my god, he's like, don't you guys, neither of you guys know Spanish, and you call yourself detectives? And I'm
you guys got quite a duet there.
Yeah. Yeah, overall it was good. But going on to more supporting cast,
I honestly think that he had the best performance in the whole movie. As the Penguin. I feel like he just completely enwrapped himself in that character. And even in several interviews, like, he actually stated like he was just a blank canvas, and as soon as he saw himself in that character, he became
the Penguin.
The Penguin.
Where's his umbrella? You know, that's what I want to know. Yeah. But the thing is, we can't.
Yeah.
It's difficult.
All right, let's not get to the stuff that we don't like yet.
But it's difficult. No, I was just saying that where's his umbrella. The problem is it's difficult because all these actors gave such great performances. You know, all the main, Commissioner Gordon, You know, Jeffrey Wright as Commissioner Gordon, Zoe Kravitz as Selena Kyle, Rob Pattinson as as Batman slash Bruce Wayne.
Zoe Kravitz.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
oh
she
my
was.
god.
If you want to talk about someone who embodied, the role of a character, I cannot see anyone else right now like Anne Hathaway, all those other.
Who's Anne Hathaway?
Exactly.
She was Catwoman at one point.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Yeah,
wait, you're holding a Batman. You're holding a Batman mug, and you don't know that. Oh my god, let me call DC. I need to talk to DC. Where's the head representative there?
Listen, I saw the movie. I know she was some type of cat person. I never saw Catwoman in that movie.
Listen, ladies who wear a lot of black spandex can give you the wrong impression.
No, but
okay?
You know
but they are Catwoman.
We think about Michelle Pfeiffer and we think about Halle Berry, and Halle Berry was absolutely
we do not talk about Halle Berry. We do not talk about Halle Berry.
That had nothing to do with DC. That was like
those are the only Catwoman that out of the.
How do you have a Catwoman movie without Batman in the actual movie?
They are iconic to remember. Like Anne Hathaway, nobody cares.
Listen, John. Let's have a Dark Side movie without Superman in the movie. How about that?
We can do that. That is possible. That is very possible.
Well, the Dark Knight Rises did that. We just had Batman and Bane in it.
We also had Anne Hathaway in that movie.
Nobody remembers.
Okay. Anyway, going forward, Zoe did a great job in this role. I'm loving the fact that they took her story from The Long Halloween. Yes. They actually did it. I was very happy that I was like when they made that reveal at the end that she was the daughter. She's the daughter of.
Spoiler alert! If you haven't seen the movie,
yeah.
Oh no, they already know.
Yeah, we're
in deep already.
Oh yeah. So I'll say this, in the already established continuity of The Long Halloween in the animated film and the comic run, Selena Kyle is the estranged daughter of Falcone.
Really? Falcone, yes. Not Falcone.
Falcone. Sorry, Falcone.
Think of like Jon Snow, bastard child type of thing.
Right.
Wow.
She had a thing with the mother, and that's why this carried over so perfectly. And I was like, oh my god, they actually took that element. Like I know that. Like I was like not surprised. I was surprised, but at the same time, I was like, wow, they actually did it. They actually took something from the comic books, didn't change it. And it's going to work out. I was very happy about that. So that was excellent. Her fighting style is very much like, very fluent, very much like a cat. Even like her moves are when she's first fighting Batman. Oh, and the nails too. Yep.
I love that. I love that accent. I love that detail. That's actually kind of stating that she's like a metahuman. Again, we're going to talk about the stuff we don't like.
Anyway. All right. Well, yeah.
All right. So one of the stuff I did like was we already covered the suit. So I like the fact that since this movie is set in his second year of Batman, he's learning how to be a Batman. I didn't think of it from a detective perspective. I thought that he was, still learning. He was going back, watching the videos, writing things down. I like that because he's learning. He's documenting stuff. He's documenting, what he's doing, so he can hopefully learn from it for the future. But I didn't think of that. Like, oh yes, he's using the context in his eyes, the videos in his eyes, to go back and look through it itself. I just thought he was using it for that purpose, to learn from his mistakes, to document what he's doing, and then it just fell into the narrative. Like, okay, I got this crime scene, I'm gonna take him out, I videotape everything, I'm gonna look into this. That was a good point. Thank you, Flash Fanatic. So I like the fact that he was learning in the movie. That's another thing I really enjoyed. Like, he's a raw Batman and he's learning how to be Batman. A great point was when he went to the roof of the Gotham police precinct and he was about to jump off. And I feel like that was the first time he did that because he hesitated so hard. He stopped, he went back, and then he went back up on the ledge, and then he hit the button or pulled the thing, and it transformed into the flight suit, and he did a pronto flight because he was not in control. He was weaving, and he didn't know how to go up. The Batman I've known, the refined Batman, the knowledgeable Batman, would have done it all in one motion. Ran up there, jumped off the ledge, hit the button or pull the cord, whatever it is. The flight suit would have came out. He would have flown up, down, left, right, on his back, with his eyes closed, and then landed safely. He didn't do that. He slammed into that, almost slammed into the bridge, then slammed on top of the bus, and then slammed on the floor. And I was like, okay, he's a new Batman. He's learning from his experiences. Hopefully, he doesn't do it again. As we're compared to Batman Begins with Christian Bale, he's flying like it's nothing. Like he's Batman for a few weeks, and then he's running around like an expert. He's jumping off buildings. He's flying left and right, and I did not like that. That's one of the things I didn't like about the original, the Christian Bale trilogy. He was a new Batman.
It skipped year one Batman, basically.
Yes, but not just skip year one, but from the get go, he was Batman. Christian Bale was Batman from the get go. Another thing that goes into this motif of him being a new Batman was the fact that he builds the Batmobile. At first he's just running around on his motorcycle. He got the bat suit. With him, he goes into an alley and no one sees him, and he changes. But I'm thinking now, what Flash Fanatic said earlier about the car was skidding and everything. I think that might have been the first time he took it for a spin. Was that moment when he's chasing the Joker, because it doesn't feel like he's in control of the car.
Penguin.
What,
Yeah.
Penguin. What did I say?
Joker.
No, sorry.
You said Joker,
it's the
Riddler,
hat.
and Penguin now.
It's the hat. It's the hat. When he's chasing the Penguin, it doesn't feel like he's doing a car chase. It doesn't feel like he's in control. He's following the Penguin, and he has very little control of his vehicle. And that's another thing I liked. This is a new Batman, and it shows in the movie. He is learning how to be a better Batman, and I want to see that throughout this trilogy. If they continue it, is him being more refined. Like in the second part, I would love. Getting ahead of myself. Sorry, but he's a new Batman, and I really like how that is shown in this movie. And I hope they continue his growth in the other movies.
I was revved up listening to the engine, like, and then it almost I almost feel like it stalled at one point, like he was about to go, and he kind of jerks it forward, and I'm like, okay, that's interesting, but it's not one of those cars that you can maneuver, and you saw that in the car chase scene, which is, I will say this. So the thing I liked a lot about this movie, we're talking about the car, so I'll bring this up, but the car chase scene, I'm not huge into that in really any movie. Even the Fast and the Furious movies, they don't really stand out to me. Oh wow, they did this cool thing. Oh, the car did a flip in midair. Okay, great. You've seen that 1,000 and something times. But with this movie, the car chase scene, the way it was shown, and just the smartness of the driving, the Penguin's trying to get away. He's trying to make it hard for him. He's going into reverse traffic. He's hitting into cones and everything off in the middle of the street and the side street, and he's causing an accident. And at one point he's saying screw it, and he just causes an accident. And his giddiness and excitement, as soon as I got him, he thought he could do it, he could do anything, I got that thing, he's fried up, or whatever he said, and then he just sees the car just come in and knock him on his ass, and and just goes around. Oh man, that was great. And then the part we saw that was also part of the trailer was when he's walking out and he sees the Batman just slow walking through the rain upside down from his perspective, and you just, oh my god, that was just perfect type of choreography, perfect type of acting,
visuals,
and
the
even
visuals are just
and the visuals,
astounding.
and even right at the end of that entire scene, you see the fear, you feel the fear of the Penguin that's seeing this guy. Maybe from a distance, it's like, okay, yeah, like I'm screwed. But like the closer he gets, the silence that you're seeing, and then the small, like this, like kneel down and slow turn to the head, and just looking at like you're screwed. That was like, I wanted to clap. I wanted to like just like, bravo, that is how you make a scene as effective as a car chase that normally that would be the time like I check my phone, or like, all right, I'm looking outside seeing how's everyone else enjoying the movie, and then like but like that was one of the scenes like I couldn't take my eyes off.
So fun fact, with that scene when he jumps through the fire in that truck, they actually did that. That was not CGI effects. They literally jumped the car through that fire when he went after the Penguin.
Oh wow! Does he think he's Tom Holland? What's going on here?
Matt Reeves came out in an interview and said, "You remember that scene where he jumps through the fire, through the trucks and everything? Yeah, we really did that." There's no, I mean, given the special effects, but it's real fire. It is a real, explosion, and they drove the Batmobile through that ramp and jumped it. That was a real scene.
Okay. Well,
it paid off. Effect of it. Yeah, and sometimes
very well.
That's the difference between CGI and practical effects, is that you see someone who, like if they just said like, don't worry, we'll fix it in editing and don't worry about it. You're just going to be in the car, and then we'll just like put the car up, and then we'll add the fire afterwards. You definitely see like it may not feel good. You may not get the certain angle that you want, but as such a good director as Matt Reeves is, that was very smart, very good coordination. Will just be what would you say if you had to pick one or two scenes that were your favorite scenes out of that movie? What would you feel stuck out to you, like you're gonna look back 5 years from now and still be impressed at this movie?
You want to go first, Fit Nerd?
That's a tough one. That's a real tough one, because
I already talked about mine.
Because Alex already spoke about the Batmobile. That's actually one of my favorite. Like the revved up engine. I mean, my eyes, I think, were tearing because I wasn't even blinking when I saw the Batmobile revving up. I was like, I basically was a meme at that point when my eyes lit up. Like I was like, oh man, this is a dope Batmobile. Like this is a Batmobile. Like I almost felt like a little bit of a touch from the 1966 Batmobile if you look at the edges on the back, but with a muscle car. And like you stated it the best, it looks almost like a Mustang, like a really beefed up muscle car. So that's definitely one of my favorite scenes. That chase scene, the car. A second one, oof.
I'll give you one so you have a second to think about it. I'll give you. There were two scenes, and we've already spoken about them because, like, it's definitely an unfair question to ask because there's so many good scenes in this movie. Definitely, like you want to, it's so hard to pick what. But the way I think about it is, I used to act as far as like part of like college and doing different shows and things like that. And one of the things I could say there are two. One, which was the psychological scene I mentioned before, where it was Batman and Edward Nygma, or whoever we're going to call him now. I actually forgot.
Nashville or something, but it's probably a fake name because he had like 3 IDs or 4 IDs or whatever when the cop pulled up. So he had different names.
It was that scene where he's doing the interrogation of him, and he's explaining. I love when characters like feel a need, they need to. Okay, I've gotten away with it. I'll just tell you everything that's coming up. And then you realize, oh, he hasn't figured out the whole puzzle, and he has to go back, and he figures out there's more to this, and you learn about the origin of the Riddler in a bit of, and like figuring out like a real change being the a password, and that like new like part of like, oh my goodness, this is not over. And then I guess my second scene I would have to pick from that would be the end fight scene between the Riddler thugs and him. That to me, all I could think about at that point in time was Arkham games without any deviation. The way he came in, the thing breaking the window platform breaking at the top, following in one move after another. If people don't know, I'm a physical therapist too. So there's a point where he's holding on from like thing, and he like has like a shoulder. He's like in a lot of pain. And he's about to like you get one of the thugs who's like gonna shoot him from point blank, and I'm first in my head like, oh god, that's gotta hurt him. Like he has a rotator cuff tear. Like he has this little dislocation of his shoulder or something going on there. Like that's all my like head's like, oh man, that's gotta really hurt if he's in that much pain.
And it makes a lot of sense. You would think that Batman does plenty of muscle ups, right? But nobody realizes that all of the gear and the suit probably weighs about 100 pounds, and he is racking on him at all times. So when he's holding by one arm, he's not only just holding his body weight, he's holding everything he has, all his gadgets, all his gear. And it's not easy to pull up with that.
No, and we're also keep in mind, this is, again, year 1, year 2, beginning years. He's not established. He's not the Christian Bale that we know from The Dark Knight, that level yet, where he's, like, full muscle. There's, like, not an ounce of body fat on him. There's a point where he has his shirt off, and he's pushing the table. And you see, like, he's in okay shape. Looks like he's been doing a little bit of CrossFit or something. But, but basically he's like at that point where he's still like kind of just building himself up. So it made sense for me.
He'll be more jacked in the sequel.
He'll be more jacked.
We'll see.
He'll catch up to Ben Affleck's Batman. The Ben Affleck Batman is the jacked version, the older, beefy, big version of Batman, the older one. So he's not there yet. The fact that he's actually leaner, that's a good point, because that's the early version of Batman.
Yeah. But that's the thing I liked about that scene was it was very much reminding me of the Arkham games and like the way that the move is, like he's doing like spins. And I love this too. He is a person. Like, at one point in the movie, he says no guns to Jim. When he's walking in, and at the end, he still continues that motto. But when you see him beating all these thugs, he's putting like a grappling hook or their own like harness to like kind of let them hang from the top. Now, whatever happened to them after is like up for debate. But
choices were made. They wouldn't have been getting their ass kicked by Batman if they made the right choices. They chose the Riddler side
on that. So I feel like there's a lot of like metaphor in that scene as well. And then I think where I would cut that scene off in terms of my favorite is kind of like, I guess it is the ending of that fight and everything, but it's when he has to jump onto the electrical thing, and he's like, I thought for a second, like, maybe this is going to be year 2 and fried Batman. Like, goes down and, he's sacrificing himself. But,
he did. He took a volt. He took whatever voltage that wire was. He took that. He put some salt and pepper and ate that hit for the people.
But I think that might have been the direction, honestly, they were taking. Like, when you're watching a movie and there's not necessarily a planned sequel in the works, like, yes, you could fit the Joker into this kind of series. You can fit everything that's in production for upcoming projects. But if you're just to say, like, hey, I'm looking for a good time, I want to go to the movies. Oh, the Batman movie is coming out. It had, from what I know, it has no affiliation with the Justice League or anything like that. Right now, it looks like the Batman is in the batverse with its own self, with other things that may or may not come down the line. But there is a big chance, in my opinion, personally, if this is a successful movie, which it looks like it will be, they may decide, and especially with the Joker also being thing, they may do something where they kind of look for the best characters from each iteration and put them in that universe, like when the Flashpoint resets itself.
Wishful thinking, but it's not gonna happen, buddy.
It
Sorry
could.
to press the button,
We'll
but
see.
It's not.
We'll see.
We will
I said it.
see.
I said
They're
it
not gonna
first.
do it.
I said it first. I'm just saying.
You guys can comment
said it
below,
first.
but
It is
Harry has already stated that. See, now what
It
I
is
mean
September.
by
Hold on. It is Saturday, March 5th, 1:37 p.m. Let's see who wins. Let's see who's right. And only time will tell.
As far as the second favorite, because we were talking about the whole ending of the movie and stuff, and one thing stuck out that I really, really, really enjoyed, and it was actually the time when he took that adrenaline boost and beat the guy to a bloody pulp, and then Jim Gordon is the one there to stop him from really like just going over the edge, like past that line. And this scene to me stuck out way more because the whole movie he even states, I am vengeance, I am vengeance, and then the guy says, I am vengeance, and he looks back, he's like, man, that's my thing. That's like but the thing that clicked in that scene to Batman, the persona, was like, oh, maybe this vengeful way is not the way. And if we look at the comics and if we look at the new storylines, what's the rule that he's teaching Damian? Or the new rule? He's like, justice, not vengeance.
Remember, Robin, justice,
not vengeance.
This is almost like that pivotal moment where he made that transition of justice, not vengeance. Don't be vengeful. And this is the big transition. That's probably actually my first scene, and then the Batmobile. But as my favorite things that stuck out about this movie, about the Batman.
Top 5 things about the movie was the whole buddy cop thing with between Jim Gordon and Batman. I loved it. I love how they interacted, how he saw him kind of like his partner, you know. A lot of times is Jim talked to him like his partner. No, not like, hey, you know, Batman's here, thank you for helping us. No, he talked to him like he even said it at one point, like, hey, we've been working together for like 2 years and I still don't know who you are. Or the fact that when they ever met, when he shined the bat signal, it wasn't at GCPD, you know, it was at some other place, an abandoned building, you know, which kind of defines the point, you know, like you're in an abandoned building and shining this light into the sky. Anybody can know, but I like that. Like they used to meet and they used to talk. And when they're in the GCPD, he tells them out. He's like, "Yeah, this is what you're gonna do. You know, you're gonna punch me in the face, and then this and that. Take the right, take the left. You know, they were friends, and I love that buddy cop relationship that they had. I really enjoyed it.
We can go into the dislikes. Alex, you may go first with your dislikes.
Yeah, it's really just 2 things. Honestly, I had a problem with. One was the Catwoman mask. Honestly, I get what they were going for. It was sort of like it felt like just like, okay, everything else is good, and then you have this one little thing that's like a strip above the nose and like above it, and it's a ski mask. I just felt like it when I saw it. I was like, I was impressed with everything, and then I saw the mask. I was like, oh, well, I guess. Well, she's a thief. I guess it fits the character a little bit. Like, it didn't impress me. Like, not like the other prosthetic of the Penguin or the design of the Riddler costume or design of Batman's costume in general. Really, just that. So anyway, that was one thing. And I'm not going to talk. I think runtime I actually had no problem with. There was one scene, though, I felt they could cut. And
which one scene was that?
So the scene I am thinking about, I think was between Selena Kyle when she's going undercover and Batman, which was like it was a little bit of a back and forth kind of scene where they were like arguing and I was okay. I was like,
got it.
I was like, I don't think this really you needed to put here. Maybe this exposition. There was a part, I think it was where she captured the not an informant, but one of the dirty cops, and then she was just like going over everything, her whole backstory, and she could have just done that, I feel, in a different way, and just say like, I'm so tired of these people who are rich and taking care of you know these people. Like, I was like, okay, you know what, she could have cut with the rant a little bit. I guess she's upset with everything, but
she was right.
No, absolutely, she's right. I just feel like that went on a
She was
little a
100%
beat longer
correct
than it
about
should.
everything she said.
To go with to go with Selena Kyle's costume design. One thing I didn't like was her father, Carmine Falcone, always wearing glasses for some reason. He was always wearing these shades, no matter where he went. Funerals, shade. In the club, shade. In his office above the club, shades. Like, I'm like, why can't we take off the shades, dude? Take them off. Like, what? Why you always gotta have the shades on? He's strangling his daughter, but he's got his shades on. He's looking all
I wear my sunglasses at night, so I can.
So yeah, that was one of my thing.
Pool with glasses on. Maybe he's in
a dark room.
In a dark room.
Maybe
At night.
he's just very sensitive to light, but that wouldn't make sense either because he's always in a dark damn room. So
true.
Yeah,
I
agree with that. I agree with that.
Even when he dies, when he gets killed, he's got his shades on.
He died with his shades. He strangled people with his shades. He died with his shades. He's gonna get buried with his shades.
Probably.
When he was
it's one of the first ones was actually what you just stated before, which is the give Catwoman her cowl. Batman has a full-blown cowl. Give Catwoman her cowl. Give her the goggles. If you're going with the Arkham style, give her the freaking cool-ass looking goggles. I think it would have added to it. It's almost like Sonic when they first showed us the first version of Sonic, and everybody was like cringed out and creeped out about it, and it was like, oh hell no! And then they fixed it. They gave us the gamer version. Just give us Catwoman with the cowl. It's not too much. We got the whip. We got the whole suit and the boots.
But yeah, that was, the big dislikes. I think we're all in agreement about the wardrobe of Catwoman a little bit.
I had no problems with it.
Other than that, yeah, no.
I mean, there's really not much to dislike about the movie. And
I got some stuff.
This part's not a dislike. It's more like concrete evidence that Peacemaker was right.
Oh my god!
I said it before. Peacemaker is right. I love my Batman, but he's right. He's right. The end credit was the most concrete evidence of everything that Peacemaker said. And let's face it, nobody arrested the Penguin. You know he's a crime dealer. Batman literally sat there as he was doing a drug deal, and he's still leaving him there to go off and be the Penguin bigger boss version, so he can go and stop him later.
Yes.
So Peacemaker was 100% right.
Anyway,
deal with the police.
Yeah, there you go. That's another thing. So what I didn't like about the movie. These are my two. I got a couple of things, but like the two biggest ones is he still closed himself off from the world. He's still like that brooding character. He's not the Bruce Wayne billionaire philanthropist doing all that good stuff. Like the orphanage burned down, then rebuild it. You see that when he goes to the funeral for the mayor and the lady that's running for mayor. She says, like, your family has a history of, doing philanthropy, but you seem not to be doing it, which is like, she brought up a good point. Like, I'm like thinking like, yeah, okay, I see that. So I didn't like that. He's not doing his charity thing. He's not doing his billionaire playboy persona. He's more Batman than he is Bruce Wayne. And given the time, I'm pretty sure like they'll show it. But that's one of my things against the movie. The other one was the way he interacted with Alfred, especially when he says to him, "You're not my father." Yeah. I'm like, "Woo, that hurt me." Ouch. Like he had a way better relationship with Jim Gordon than he did with Alfred, and I didn't like that because Alfred has always been his father figure.
Friend.
Oh yeah,
he's my friend. He understands me.
Yeah, he's my best friend.
Fake dad.
And especially when there's Alfred taking it upon himself to look after his Bruce Wayne, telling him, "Hey, you got to talk to the accountants. Hey, you got to do this." He's like, "Hey, I took the liberty of going through this cipher, looking through the clues. Here you go." He was being helpful. The man literally took a bomb for him. So
on my list, I have a list, and the one thing I did not put in the dislike or like because I was so confused about this relationship was the Alfred relationship with Bruce. In the fact that, yes, absolutely, he's an a-hole so hard to Alfred for the majority of the movie. Even at one point, he's like, here, your father gave me these things. And then he gets himself essentially blown up. I mean, the first thing that Bruce says when he regains consciousness is, you lied to me my entire life.
Yeah, what an a-hole move.
That
was a burn.
And the thing is I honestly didn't see any resolve of that even at the end of the movie. It was like, yeah, you're not my father, you're not my father, you're not my father the whole time, and then that happens, he's still an a-hole. Yeah, he's like, oh, well, I'm there for you, okay, like, you know, like, I'm always gonna look out for you, I'm trying to protect you. And then there's not really a full resolve to that. Right, but there's not really a full resolve to that entire issue. You know, that relationship, even in the end of the movie, there's nothing that really points to, yeah, this is the relationship they have. We're not going to change that. This is probably going to persist for years until, I don't know, maybe Batman, the second Batman or the third Batman sequel or whatever they're going to do. But I like the fact that, you know, they use some of Alfred's like military background kind of to use, you know, open up things, you know, help him with the cipher, showing again that this is a young Batman. He can't do everything on his own. Even he has like supercomputers that are helping him on encrypt stuff. But, you know, Alfred is in a sense like, yeah, you know, I used to do this in the war back in the day. Like,
was a badass. Alfred was like 007 back in the day. They made it a point that he's like, I was here to protect your father.
I mean, there's
he's a badass.
That's Batman Year One. If you read that graphic novel, they cover that.
Yes.
Well, that's technically isn't it? Isn't there an HBO series called Pennyworth?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So isn't that I might be messing up the last names, but isn't Pennyworth Alfred Pennyworth?
Yeah, it's about him. It's about
him.
Right.
It's about him.
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet. It's one on my to-do list, but you know, like, that's the thing. Like, he's such an influential. He's been more influential in the comics more recently, even with certain things that happen. I'm not going to spoil comics for comic readers. So there are things that happened in the comics in the Rebirth series with Alfred, and current. So I just, you know, I was really annoyed about the relationship that they established with both of them. In that, you know, there wasn't really a full resolution. Only, yeah, you know, I'll be there for you when you need it, and I'll protect you when you need it. But it seems that Bruce didn't really grow from that. He just like, yeah, you know, like, sure, whatever, I'm here for you. You're my only family, I guess. It was like, yeah, it, you know, threw me for a loop. What do you think of the post-credit scenes? And I'm going to say scenes because there is a little thing at the end of this movie. It's not nothing much.
It's one scene. It's one single scene.
Second.
It's like 1 second. And you actually discovered what it actually means, which is you go to the URL. Just like in the movie, you go to the URL, Kuna Matata.
It's called Rada Alada.
Not Ratatouille.
And you got this letter, which you have to decipher for us.
So if no one knows, at the end of the movie, past the credits, if there's not really like any, I guess, character scene, like there's no Batman, there's nothing like that. You just get a message of the question mark and goodbye question mark. Like, this is probably not the end of the character. He may be in another movie at some point, or another, maybe a show or whatnot. He may be seen again. But there's a split second, and this, you know, this heavily, I feel like, is influenced by Fight Club, if anyone remembers. And I'm not going to use too much details, but they used to, in that movie, they put in these millisecond scenes of like kind of X-rated type of scenes that you would see, and it would like be gone, and you're like, did I just see something I shouldn't have seen in this movie? And they kind of did a similar thing where it flashes the site, Rada Alada, where you can go to, and you essentially have to answer these questions, which is why I was doing it. Right now, there is a message that you can decipher with the code that they give you. There's like a cipher that they give you. So there's a possibility that can actually play into what the plot or who the villains could be.
I'll tell you what, who I think one of the villains can be of the movie. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, they definitely could be. DC on their end, we've had a couple of Justice League movies. We've had the Snyder cuts. We've had we're getting the Flash, Black Adam. We're getting the character of Dr. Fate. We're getting the character of Giant Man. Everything
Giant Man,
like that.
Adam Smasher.
Adam Smasher. Adam Smasher.
Wait, Adam Smasher. Yeah, Adam Smasher. Into like these things. So like I'm just thinking like forward thinking. There's gonna obviously be more movies, more characters that are unknown. And then I feel like at some point that would be a really cool, fun project to work on. I mean, who knows? I mean, maybe Fit Nerd or Ocean Nerd can help produce it at some point.
Not alone.
But in regards to this movie,
if they need
I really thought that was a great.
We three here are all available, and at any moment we will clear our entire schedules to help. Probably 20.
Quickly, what do you rate it? 0 to 10.
I give it a 9.5 out of 10.
I'm gonna give it a 9
Love
out of 10.
Movie.
Oh.
It's for me. It's a classic. I can't wait for the sequels. I really enjoy it. I can't wait to see it again. Hopefully tonight. Fingers crossed. But yeah, it was a great movie.
The Bat and the Cat.
Alrighty, guys. There you have it. Don't forget to like and subscribe, guys.
I have 2 thumbs up right now, and I'm just doing that. So
until next.
You can't see it, but 2 thumbs up.
This is Ocean Nerd over and out.
T-shirts, tank tops, mugs, totes, stickers, face masks, and so much more. So if you want to check out some of our latest official merch, take a look right below the video. We are doing a 50K subscriber giveaway for the Nano Iron Man Gauntlet, fully loaded with the Infinity Stones and LED lights. Simply hit the subscribe button, comment below, and like this video.